Good morning, beautiful people. Hoping this message finds you well and safe. So, something for your consideration. For your considerations. Follow me on this. You know how, as a kid, you would stack up dominoes, and the cool part was to see how many you could stack up in a row, and then the fun part was knocking them all down and watching the pattern or whatever. What would happen if, for you assign a person or a responsibility its own domino, right? So you've got a domino for, if this applies to you, for every kid. Every kid gets their own domino. It's not 3 kids, 1 domino. Every kid gets their own domino. Partner, pet, job, school, and not just school, every class in school gets its own domino. Every responsibility you have. I think what happens is everybody puts all those dominoes so close that if any one of those fall, they all fall. So you have one kid that stresses you out, right? Or you have an experience with, that if that relationship goes sour, every relationship you have with everybody else goes sour. All of it. You have a bad day at work, and because that domino fell, it's so close to your house that now affects your house. You have one bad class, and because of that experience in that class, every experience now for the rest of the day falls because everything is so close. And I wonder what would happen if you separated or created some distance between each domino. This is not a confession nor therapy, but I do want you to see something another way. There is a lot of intention with me not publicly putting my life out there so that everything is so close that it affects everything else about my life. So like, I see people on social media, they'll go from sharing with their thought politically to what they ate, to something beautiful about their kids, to how they feel about their job. Everything is so close that all of a sudden you have one bad experience here, and then publicly everything falls apart. I advocate for distance. Your relationship with this domino should be such that if that falls, the rest of all of the dominoes don't fall as a result of it. Like, that's the goal. It does not mean they're not important. It does not mean that you have to figure out how to have all these super secret or protected relationships with all of them. I just think that everything is so close that it's actually dangerous. You know how people say keep your circle tight? Yeah, I'm not one of those people. How about you just don't have a circle? How about my relationship with you is my relationship with you, and my relationship over here is my relationship over here. And if this one falls, you should never know. As much as I can control, you should never know. Now, if you can recall back to when you were a kid with the dominoes, I think the most dangerous part is when somebody walked by the table and you yelled, "Don't touch the table. Don't hit the table. Don't bump the table." Because no matter how careful you were in stacking these up, no matter how much distance you created that I just referred to, if somebody shakes the foundation, everything falls. What I have no recommendation for you is, like, what is your foundation? Because for everybody, it's different. For everybody, it's different. But I do know you cannot have these dominoes, these relationships resting on a shaky foundation, or none of this matters. So what do I recommend you do with this? 1, create some distance between you and all the dominoes. It doesn't mean you love any one domino any more or less. It just means maybe some of these things are too close. 2, pay attention to the foundation that all of these relationships are resting on. For some of you, it's your faith. For some of you, it's your finances. For some of us, it's our mental health. If I'm not right here and here, none of this stuff matters. So I protect my peace at all costs, because when I am not at peace, nobody's at peace who relies on me. Everything's shaky. So that's it. So with that, I hope this message finds you well and safe and healthy and patient and diligent. I hope it finds you giving consideration to creating some space, some distance between all these dominoes in your life, so that if one falls, everything doesn't fall. I hope it finds you being intentional about the foundation upon which all these relationships rest. And of course, I hope it finds you thinking. Having a fantastic time out here in Santa Barbara. More on that to come soon, depending on when you're watching that. But everybody be safe out there. Looking forward to talking to you next time. Thanks. Bye.